Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to my channel Movie Files. Elliot back again with a brand new early Amazon review, and today we'll be discussing the brand new action thriller by the name of Without Remorse, which will be coming to Amazon Prime this Friday, April 30th. Now, I got the opportunity to check it out early, and I'm so excited to let you all know what I thought about this new thriller action film starring Michael B. Jordan, and if you all should be excited for it, all in this spoiler-free review. Before we dive into it, make sure you're following me on all my other social media accounts. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. That way you can get the alert for when I drop new reviews like this. It would mean the world to me if you all can like and share this review. It helps out the channel a lot, but I also appreciate all the support. And in those comments, let's talk about this movie. Let me know, number one, if you were excited for the film, and once you've seen it, let's talk about your pros, your cons, your thoughts on the story, the performances, the action. Do you want to see more from this franchise? And also, just to have fun, what's your favorite Michael B. Jordan performance of his career so far? Let's talk about it in those comments. So for those that aren't too familiar with this film, Without Remorse is an explosive origin story about the action hero John Clark, one of the most popular characters in the Jack Ryan universe. In this movie, when a squad of Russian soldiers kills his family for his part in a top secret mission, John Kelly pursues his assassins at all costs. Now, if there was one word to describe this movie after I got done watching it, it was wow. And I'll get into my reasons why, but I'll say as far as my anticipation level for this movie, I was really looking forward to it. The only thing that got me a little bit nervous was the director of this film, Stefano Sollima, who was the director of Sicario 2. And I didn't hate Sicario 2, but the direction wasn't all that great. And it was big shoes to fill. Number one, Denis Villeneuve is my favorite director. I love the first Sicario, and I'll get into his direction in this film, but the things that did sell me: number one, I'm an action fiend. I love me a good action film. Number two, when it comes to being a fan of Michael B. Jordan, I'm a huge fan of his work. I know there's some people that think he's a face actor. They think he gets casted and everything, which I don't think is the case. I'm a fan. I've been a fan of his since seeing him all the way back in 2001 in Hardball as Jamal, seeing him as Wallace in The Wire, and then also just seeing him just becoming this action star, man. Whether it be him taking over Hollywood and Creed and directing the next Creed, him and Black Panther, and then with this movie, he might have another franchise on his hands. So I'm a big fan of Michael B. Jordan. And then also just going into the Jack Ryan, Tom Clancy universe, I'm a big fan. I played the video games growing up. I love the movies. I haven't seen the series. I plan on watching it eventually, but I'm just a fan of this universe. So I was sold once I saw that trailer. And kicking this thing off with my positives, I was so impressed by so many parts of this film, but in particular, I'm going to focus on the action. The action set pieces in this film were absolutely incredible, and it allowed you to sit in the action set pieces. It allowed you to see the scope, the scale, the ambitious nature of what was going on. I really appreciate that aspect, and just breaking it down a little bit more. I'm going to kind of go off the cuff a little bit. I'm so happy the trailers didn't give away all the incredible action, because we all know trailers just love to throw every single thing at the beginning, the middle, the end, show you all the big pieces of the film. The trailer did a good job of setting the tone. I think of that scene when he gets in the car that's on fire, but that's one of many badass moments in this movie. So thank you, trailer company, for not giving away all the big stuff. And when it comes to the action set pieces that just left me just floored, and I won't describe it in detail, but I'll just say jail sequence, the airplane sequence, which reminded me of Mission Impossible, was so awesome. And there is a Russian mission, which is incredible. If you're an action fan like I am, you will not be disappointed in the action, especially when we get to a portion of the film that includes a 45-minute plus non-stop action set piece. It was incredible. Again, I can't speak highly enough of this action, and just diving deeper into the action, it felt authentic, because I will say, again, I've never served in the military. I've never been a Navy SEAL, but playing those games, right? Call of Duty, Battlefield, I mentioned Tom Clancy. A lot of the times they bring in Navy SEALs, they bring in Army vets, they bring in, military people to kind of consult the game, to tell them how to do certain things, how to make it feel authentic. And I felt that they did the same thing with this film, whether it was the lingo they used, to clear a room, to using combat, to holding the weapons. Sometimes you watch action films, it's just like, why are they holding like that? It feels like it's an actor playing a role, versus in this film, I felt like I was watching Navy SEALs going in on action. And just looking at Michael B. Jordan in this film, I have to say, he took a page out of Tom Cruise's book, because it seems like he did a lot of his own stunts, especially when it came to a lot of holding his breath underwater. So I was beyond impressed with the action in this film, and I can't speak highly enough of the action. Now, I just mentioned Michael B. Jordan, so let's transition to the performances. is, starting with the lead of this film, I thought Michael B. Jordan did such a great job of selling the action. Of course, we've seen him in action roles. I think of Chronicle. I think of, obviously, Killmonger and Black Panther, him as Adonis Creed. I mean, he has the physique. He has the build to be an action star, but that doesn't mean he's necessarily a good action star. I think he's a phenomenal action star in this role. And when it comes to just him developing this role, him developing the story, this was his first produced action movie. And as you all can see on the screen now, his approach to the role, his approach to just taking in account to making it as authentic and as raw and gritty action as possible. I really appreciate Michael B. Jordan, and I love what he's doing in his career. He's 35 years old, a young black man in Hollywood, creating his own path, producing his own movies, picking and choosing what project he wants to attach his name to. I respect that about him. But going back to his role in this film, he plays John Clark, who he's a complete badass, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it was funny. I was texting a friend of mine after I got done watching this movie. I said this was the Killmonger prequel I didn't know I needed. I mean, the Michael Jordan, like I said, he sold the action, and this is like an amalgamation of John Wick meets Jason Bourne meets John Rambo. I mean, the badassery that goes on with John Clark was just amazing. You felt the determination from John Clark in his mission on this vengeance. As I read the synopsis, his family's killed, and he has this mission that he's on throughout the film. And I love that the film gave him flaws, because there's a lot of dimensions going on with this character, because with his vengeance, it kind of clouds his judgment at points, right? We see him being a stubborn character. We also see him being willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that his team accomplishes his mission, but at the same time, he makes these audibles that can compromise the mission. So I love that we have this moments of John Clark, who is a straight up badass, a hero, and just a really great character. But then he also has flaws, right? That makes him more relatable. It makes him more relatable in regards to everyone has their flaws. So I really enjoyed his performance. I thought Michael B. Jordan was a complete badass as John Clark. That brings me to another character in this film. I'm wearing my Queen and Slim shirt, and I mentioned it when I reviewed that film that I was a huge fan of Jodie Turner-Smith, and I couldn't wait to see what she does next. And here's her next project, and she did not disappoint. She plays Kelly's friend and former SEAL team leader, Lieutenant Commander Karen Gear. She's a badass. She showed leadership in this role, but I also appreciated the friendship that they had in regards to her really caring for John and caring about his well-being and just truly being a really good friend. Again, Jodie is incredible. I loved her in Queen and Slim. I loved her in this film, and I'm just excited to see her career continue to grow, because, again, I thought she was phenomenal throughout the film. And then there's another character that I will give props to, and that character is played by Jamie Bell, who actually worked with Michael B. Jordan on Fantastic Four. And I'll just say this about Jamie Bell's character, who plays a very famous character in the Jack Ryan franchise as Robert Ritter, a shadowy CIA agent. He grew on me in this film, because at the beginning, I wasn't a fan of Jamie Bell's performance, nor was I a fan of the character. I thought it was very one-dimensional, but as the film unfolds, I became a fan of the character. And then kind of wrapping up my positives here, in regards to the writing of this fresh take on a story we've seen before, right? In regards to a vengeance story, someone gets their family taken out, they have to go on this revenge tale of taking out all these people. But in regards to the writer of this film, you have Taylor Sheridan, who I am such a big fan of his writing, whether it be Hell or High Water, Ren River, the first two Sicarios. He has a film coming out next month with Angelina Jolie. I'm a big fan of his work, and what I love about him, the way he writes his action is phenomenal, and the way that he allows the characters to be in the point of view of seeing these real humans dealing with eternal conflict. I thought that the script was really well done. Again, the way that Sheridan handles action is so great, and also he is a co-writer. We do have another writer on this film, which was Will Staples, he's known for a lot of video games, and particularly Call of Duty, and he brings that kind of lore and mythology from the Tom Clancy video games that I grew up with. There's a lot of homages, and it pays a lot of Easter eggs from Splinter Cell and also Rainbow Six. So there's a lot of Easter eggs for my fans out there of the video game. So I like the writing in this film. And then I mentioned up top that I was a little bit nervous of the director, Stefano Sollima, who directed Sicario 2. I'm very pleased to say that I thought he did a great job in the direction. He had a great take on the story, this conspiracy, spy, espionage story. I thought he did a great job with the pacing. When it comes to the action, he did such a great job of, again, making it authentic. It was gritty, and I was really impressed by his handling of the action. So those are my pros. there were some flaws that I had with the film, starting off with, again, for my Michael B. Jordan fans out there, I'm one of them. I have to admit, I praised him on his performance of selling the action, being a badass, a true badass, but I have to say, he did a much better job, in my opinion, of showing versus telling. And what I mean by that was his actions spoke louder than his words. There were some points in this film, for me personally, that I felt like John Clark showed you he was a badass, but when he had to deliver certain lines to make it, give us exposition, give us a little bit more of the story was going on, I felt like it was a little bit weak at points. And that's a mixture of, not that Michael B. Jordan had a bad performance, but I felt like it was just a little bit underwhelming, and it was a little bit of the direction too that I felt like it was a little bit on the nose. Like literally he says in the movie, I'm a badass, and I'm just like, that's a little bit on the nose there. And there's a couple times in the movie where he's delivering this certain monologue where he's just like, I'm a bad, like he talks like he's the badass that we know that he is, but it's just like, do more showing versus telling. So I will say that I thought that some of the line delivery wasn't all that great for me. And it's not throughout the film. It's like little parts throughout the film. And you all probably see what I'm talking about once you've seen the movie. And then when it comes to these secondary characters and some of the subplots, I felt like some of the characters, I wanted a little bit more. And some of it's because I'm selfish. I love some of these actors in these roles. And for example, I think of different characters. Like there's multiple points in the movie where John Clark has to interact with different team members. And I wanted a little bit more chemistry and a little bit more screen time with those members to make me really care for them more. But there are some other actors that I'm just a fan of that I just wanted a little bit more from the characters. One being Colman Domingo as Pastor West. Now, this is an action movie. I don't expect the pastor to be on every action mission. I just like Colman Domingo, and I wish he was in the film just a little bit more. And also, you have Guy Pearce, who plays Secretary Clay, who I thought was just very one-dimensional. I thought Guy gave a good performance, but I thought the character was just, like I said, very one-dimensional and very predictable. And I'll just leave it at that. And then, more importantly, when it comes to John Clark and then his wife, his relationship played by the beautiful London Lauren who plays Pam Clark, I just wanted one or two more scenes with them as a couple because, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but like I read in Synopsis and as they show in the trailer, something happens to his family, and I just wish that we would have spent a little bit more time with John Clark, the family man, John Clark, just the everyday man. I wish there was a little bit more scenes with him just being an everyday person versus being in a badass. I love that he was a badass, but I just want a little bit more time with that character on his day-to-day life. And then lastly, I felt like, and I will always take this, I felt the film got better as it went on, and I always prefer a film it has a satisfying conclusion versus having an okay opening and a good conclusion to the story versus a great opening and a bad conclusion to the story. This film doesn't have a slow opening, but I will say the first half is very stereotypical spy, espionage, conspiracy stuff going on and stuff that you've seen before, but it's not until like the second act for me where the film really kind of takes off. So again, I like how the film built on this momentum to have, in my opinion, a very satisfying conclusion. Before I give you all my overall thoughts, my score, make sure to like the video, share the video, comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, hit that bell, that way you don't miss any of my other content. With all that being said, like I said, this was the Killmonger prequel I didn't know I needed. As someone that really enjoys the Jack Ryan universe, especially playing the video games growing up, I really had a great time with this film. It's spy espionage. It has gritty action. Michael B. Jordan sold me on the action. It's like last year's Extraction, but it has the action to back up the story. And like I said, when it comes to this character, this is Jason Bourne meets John Rambo. I thought the direction was strong. The writing was compelling. The action was beyond impressive. There were some characters that I felt was a little bit underwhelming. Some of the line delivery was a little bit underwhelming, but look, at the end of the day, I enjoyed the hell out of this film, and I can't wait to see what they do with this universe. With that being said, I'm going to give Without Remorse a solid 4 out of 5. I really wish this film was available in theaters because there are some action set pieces that were just jaw-dropping. I would have loved to see it on the big screen, but nonetheless, I cannot recommend this film enough when it becomes available on Amazon Prime this Friday. I will say, no spoilers, but there is a mid-credit post scene, so stick around to the end, and when I saw that scene, it put a big smile on my face, especially being a fan of the Tom Clancy universe, and I'll just leave it at that. So again, Without Remorse, a 4 out of 5. Once you all have seen the film, let me know your pros, your cons, your thoughts on the action, the performances. Do you want to see more of this franchise? And like I said, let me know your favorite Michael B. Jordan performance in the comments below. As always, like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hope you all are staying safe. Hope you enjoyed this review. We'll see you on the next video.